money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel. Cayman's bigger, better network.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Some may say that it is the land of other things as well, and we will talk about that. This morning we will talk about the good, we will talk about the bad, we will talk about the ugly as well, because we have to certainly be extremely realistic about the Cayman Islands and careful not to sweep anything under the rug, because it may come back to haunt you a little bit later on. So we have to try to be as transparent as possible, and while it may be uncomfortable to talk about some of our shortcomings, we need to do so, because it's only by acknowledging it, talking about it, seeking solutions that we are going to see any progress at all. So, folks, today is Wednesday, the 28th day of February 2024, right here in the Cayman Islands. I want to thank all of you who are tuning in to Radio Cayman, those of you who have always made Radio Cayman your favorite radio station as well. To those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we are urging you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. And to remind you that this segment of For the Record, the birthday shout-outs, they are brought to you by Coca-Cola. Proud to be your, Coca-Cola, proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands, or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. And again, this morning, I want to give a special shout out to Mr. George Chalette. Looking forward to hearing his voice again, seeing him back at home. And when I spoke to him last, his indications, I think he should be here, if not this week, certainly next week as well. But I will touch base with him, hopefully today. If not today, then tomorrow as well. Also, want to extend or wishes to those persons who were injured in the shooting, and wish a speedy recovery for them as well. All of those persons who may have witnessed it and experienced the situation and who may be traumatized as well. It is good to see that you're being reached out to. Certain services are being offered to you to help you with any challenges that you may have as a result of that as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, again, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at talktooc@gmail.com, or WhatsApp number 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note. And of course, we will play the contents during the course of the show, but you can also call in on that number 925-3261 and talk to us as well. And don't forget, you follow us on YouTube. You simply do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Is Facebook functioning yet, Miss Susan? Only on YouTube at this point in time. Facebook not operational. So let's look at the birthday shout-outs, and let me remind you also that if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, share that information with us. We will be more than happy to acknowledge it on For the Record. And of course, we would not be able to do that without the generosity of our sponsors for this segment of For the Records, and they are Coca-Cola, proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. They say you should accept no substitutes. You should taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. We are also proud to have as our sponsor Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune. Call them on 949-9570 or 525-9571. So we're going to look at some of the birthdays. We have some for tomorrow, February the 29th, Mr. Lemuel McFeel. Then we have Friday the 1st of March, Isis Reyes, Todd Mangatal. Carol Jackson will be celebrating hers on Saturday the 2nd of March, as well as Miss Brenda Archer, who will be celebrating hers on the 2nd of March. And God willing, if I'm here on Friday, we will share those with you again as well. Meanwhile, Okay, one of our listeners has written in and said, "Good morning. Powerful statement, Mr. Connor. Tell it like it is. If they can't take the heat, simply get out of the kitchen." Okay, I want to thank that listener for that encouragement as well. We also have a belated birthday shout out going to Carrie Bounds. Her birthday was on February the 27th, yesterday. Also, Nicole Carter, whose birthday was on February the 24th. And those birthday greetings are coming from the Fantastic Four. So, coming from the Fantastic Four, belated happy birthday. Shout outs to Carrie Bounds, whose birthday was on the 27th of February, and Nicole Carter, whose birthday was on February the 24th. Again, coming from the Fantastic Four. I think I have another one here as well. We have a happy birthday to Mr. Norman Hides, who will be 22 years of age tomorrow. 22 years tomorrow as well. So happy birthday when it comes, Mr. Norman Hides, to you. Okay. If you know anyone else, just send them in, even if we have gone beyond the segment for birthday shout-outs. When the opportunity arises, we will call you. We will call them out as well. So don't hesitate if you realize later on that you want to send a birthday shout-out. I'll find somewhere to fit them in as well. Okay, so here, yeah. Big mistake here, but I read it the way I got it. So Mr. Norman Hides, he will be 88. He was born on a leap year, which was, which is what they're telling me. He was born in a leap year, Mr. Norman Hides. He will be 88. Wow, that's a good age. Good age. Good to reach that age as well. So happy birthday, Mr. Hides, when it comes tomorrow. And I know at 88, we'll say to you, whatever you do, and we say this to everyone, when you're celebrating, whatever you do, make sure that you do it in moderation as well. Folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
In light of the recent spike in gun violence, the elected representatives for West Bay will be facilitating a meeting for the residents of West Bay to express their concerns and to give input towards solutions on Wednesday, February 28th from 7 p.m. at the Shirley Kidd Hall located at Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. Her Excellency the Governor, Mrs. Jane Owen, and Police Commissioner Mr. Kurt Walton will be in attendance. The community is encouraged to attend.
Cayman Turtle Center is doing it again. Get ready to crawl, walk, or run. Lace up your sneakers and join us as we stride for conservation on March 17th at the 4th Annual Turtle Crawl 5K Walk Run, hosted by the Cayman Turtle Center. For just $25, you can be a part of this incredible event with every step you take supporting the conservation efforts for the majestic green sea turtles of the Cayman Islands. Sign up today at turtlecrawl.ky and secure your spot in this unforgettable experience. We extend a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors: Advanced Fire and Plumbing, CG Britke, CUC, Gatorade, DMS Broadcasting, Blue Water Medical Supplies, Yanni's Photography, Double M Distribution, Corporate Electric, Cryo 345, and Radio Cayman. Join us bright and early on Sunday, March 17th at 6:30 a.m. at the Cayman Turtle Center. Register now and don't miss out on the fun.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Fortescue, Eddington Arch, 1909-1971.
Pastor Fortescue Eddingston Arch, better known as Brother Fossey, was one of 11 children born to James Heber and Virginia Arch. In 1933, he was converted in the Church of God, Full Gospel Hall, and in 1946 was appointed General Overseer of the churches of the Cayman Islands and the Bay Islands. He was the loving husband of Gloria, and after her sudden death in 1956, he married her sister, Helen. He was instrumental in the establishment of the various branches of the church and involved in the acquisition of property, finance, and construction of the church's buildings. He was a well-known and talented carpenter and shipwright, a successful realtor, and a merchant. He was also a generous, kind-hearted, and friendly person who always assisted the less fortunate in any way he could.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The Rotary Central Health Check, Saturday, March 2, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. 5 locations: Costuless West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Georgetown, Savannah United Church Hall, Foster's Airport, and the East End Civic Center. Free blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, hemoglobin, mouth cancer screenings, healthy weight assessment, free medical consultations. Rotary Central, creating hope in the world.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
You don't need to be great to start, but you sure do need to start to be great. We've all been there. The little put when we try to start the car. Starters and alternators will eventually go. When life happens to your car, Superior Auto can save your day. Superior Auto offers complete starter and alternator repair. Superior Auto, 525-9571 or 949-9570. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Brand Source Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Ranso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Tortuga is giving you the chance to win big with its Treasure to 10K giveaway. Spend $25 in store or online from now until April 5th for a chance to win a grand prize of $10,000 cash, plus $1,500 of Tortuga vouchers and some fantastic weekly giveaways. It's all part of Tortuga's big 40th anniversary celebrations. Visit any Tortuga retail or discount store or shop online at tortuga.ky to enter.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio yet, but we will have a guest coming in later on this morning. So meanwhile, during the course of our show on Monday with Dr. Steve McPhail, I believe that one of our listeners expressed the view, not on air, but expressed the view that, why are we talking about politics in the UK? Why are we talking about the speaker in the UK and we're not talking about the crime in the Cayman Islands and specifically the shooting incident at the Ed Bush playing field in West Bay? Well, later on, towards the end of the show, we did talk about crime. But it was deliberate on my part, simply because I didn't want to speak about the specific incident because I knew absolutely nothing about it other than what had been shared publicly by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and there weren't real specifics in there, and I didn't want to speculate. We knew that a press conference was going to take place, and would wait to see and hear what was said there before opening up any conversation and a dialogue in relation to the specific incident. If I felt that there was something positive, some good that I could achieve by talking about it at that point in time, I would have, because it was extremely important. So now we can talk about it because more has been said. The press conference took place. I see where in some circles people are expressing their disappointment with the press conference. Some people talk about the fact that they're having a press conference and it is so important, but they're saying, well, we only have whatever period of time that we will be able to spend with you. I'm not sure what people were expecting from the press briefing, especially from the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kurt Walton, who in my opinion, handled himself quite professionally and tried to answer questions and to say as much as he could at that point in time. When there's a investigation taking place, don't expect the investigators to get out there and tell you, step by step exactly what is happening, because then the suspects are knowing what's happening as well. Sometimes we get too accustomed to seeing what takes place in the United States, and even some of those police departments over there are learning now that they have to be guarded in terms of what they say at any point in time. They may be a little bit looser when the perpetrator has been killed, but when the perpetrator may still be alive and there are court proceedings that are likely to take place, they have to be extremely guarded in terms of what they say. But we'll come back to that because we do have a caller and I want to accommodate the caller before we go to our 8 o'clock news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, this is a good time to talk about it after the fight.
Well, to a certain extent.
I grew up in the era where I was told prevention was better than cure. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Why is it we so reluctant, OC, to address certain matters? Everything that those politicians or any decision that's supposed to be made for this country should be, the Constitution put in to say, should be in the best interest of Cayman and Cayman people.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we're so reluctant in making changes that we know that would be beneficiary to the country. Go back to where the older people had it before. Why we can't go back and implement the things that they had? Even immigration reform is a big controversial between the elected members. Well, see, moving the rollover policy back to 5 years or 4 years got to be a big row between the members. Why? We should do that. Well, see, there's millions and millions of people out there waiting to come here. We won't be short of no workers, I'm telling you, because right now it 2.6 million people line up out there waiting to come here. About that, okay? So we won't be short of people. We bring people here too long. The cement they put in the ground, right? Let's bring them in. They work for a period of time. We roll them out. We're being too influenced by outside sources. And the gun that was used in that shooting was, never come through the airport. Turtle at the airport would have picked that up. Even the turtle would have picked that up. It never came through his baggage. Was it okay? Was it, why is it that the marine section of the Cayman Islands are being shut down at 11 at night? You think the people in the canoe don't know what time they shut down? You think they don't allow to? You think the people here that are accepting or waiting on the shores to accept the guns don't tell them that marine people go home at 11? Why is it we don't have 24-hour surveillance if we know that canoes and things are frequent in our island? We know that. Everybody know that, right? You know that. You heard about it. We see the canoes on the shore. Wake up in the morning and they're on our shores and they're empty, right? So they never get there by themselves. So why is it that we don't have 24 hours surveillance now? If I was in charge of the marine section, I would launch at Lost Part 1 because they got some sophisticated boat now, with some really nice boats. And you launch at Lobster Part. One go towards Norwest Point. You launch one in the North Sound at their area there where they house the boats, and that one go towards East End. And so you're completing the island right round and round at within 24. A couple of hours. You're covering the island from one end to the next. One boat can't do it, but you got one going one direction and one going the other direction.
And you have drones. You have drones that you can use now as well.
And yeah. I'm hearing from one of the officers who tell me that they shut down at 11.
I'm going to have to interrupt you, Lord Graham, because we reached the 8 o'clock news, but my guest isn't coming in. So after the news, 8:15, call us back and we can continue this conversation if you so wish.
Will I be on?
Keeping that as a surprise for now. Let you know then.
I know who will be on. I don't want to be on too much.
Okay. Talk to you, folks. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8:01.
What you got for lunch?
I'm having crispy edge pot stickers and some evolved keto cups for dessert.
And what's in the glass?
Aquabucha. Basically kombucha-infused sparkling water.
Ugh, all I have is bologna on dry bread. Where do you get this fancy stuff?
It's all from Foster's, Camana Bay, in the Foster's Fine section, aisle 8.
All this at Foster's?
Yep, with new specialty items each month. You can even visit fosters.ky/finds to discover something new.
Trade ya.
Foster's, better selection because we care.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Her Excellency, the Governor Jane Owen, says the Cayman Islands will do all it takes to address the kind of crime that led to this weekend's mass shooting at Ed Bush Stadium in West Bay, which sent 7 people to the hospital. During a press conference on Monday, the governor acknowledged the complexity of focusing more than on a specific crime.
How do we prevent this
continuing to escalate, which means working with colleagues in education and health and mental health and the probation services, etc., etc. And that is something that we will speed up that activity to make sure that we have clear policies to tackle it.
No official word from police yet on any progress in the investigation. However, the governor announced on her Facebook page that she convened the National Security Council on Tuesday to address the NSC's response to the shooting. They agreed to review capacity to combat gun incidents and prevent the illegal importation of weapons into the country. Fielding a parliamentary question in the House on Tuesday, Deputy Governor the Honourable France Manderson told MPs the neighbourhood policing and police community support officer contingent within the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is currently short 11 people.
Georgetown Police Station in the Community Police Division, the current strength is 9. The future establishment is 15. Georgetown Police Station, current strength is 1. Future establishment in 2. West Bay Police Station, 4. Future establishment 5. West Bay Police Station, current strength 1, future establishment 2. The Eastern Districts, current strength is 6, future establishment is 7. And the Eastern Districts, current strength 2, future establishment 3. Those increases relate to the 11 vacancies that are currently in existence.
Mr. Manderson says after the mass shooting at the football match in West Bay, the Premier has committed to working with the police commissioner to address these gaps.
The idea then is to fill these vacancies that exist. As you know, the community safety officers and the community police division is a key component of effective policing. And that if the commissioner needs resources elsewhere, the government will give him the support that he needs.
The parliamentary question was posed by the Leader of the Opposition Tuesday morning. In other Parliament news, Speaker of the House, Sir Alden McLaughlin, has expressed strong concerns about the lack of meetings of the Parliament Management Council.
The reason in almost every case has simply been not been able to get a quorum. Now, some members have said to me that they think we have the law or the act has too many members and that the quorum is too high. That may well be the case. But the only people that can fix that is us, because we have to amend the act.
The Speaker says he understands all too well the responsibilities and duties of ministers and the Premier, having firsthand experience, but has urged his colleagues to make the Council a priority.
Colleagues, if we don't manage this Parliament, the administrative end of it, sooner or later, a means is going to be found for someone else to do so, because it can't manage itself. And other people are going to wind up taking decisions because the business of Parliament has to carry on.
Sir Alden noted that there have been only 3 meetings called since he was elected Speaker, but none of those meetings have been held. And in 2023, 4 meetings were scheduled, and all 4 were canceled. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
With the BBC News, I'm Roisin Hasty. The widow of the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has addressed the European Parliament, saying he was tortured for 3 years on President Putin's orders. Yulia Navalny said her husband's body had also been abused. His funeral will be held in Moscow on Friday. Asylum applications to the European Union have risen to the highest level since the 2015 migrant crisis. Last year, there was an 18% rise in people seeking refuge to 1.1 million. A group campaigning for disability rights in Hungary has called for the closure of all large state care homes. The call comes after a court found state authorities responsible for serious rights violations of more than 200 disabled people. The Indian state of Manipur has deployed troops in the capital Imphal after a senior police officer was abducted. Reports say he was taken by hundreds of militants who ransacked his house. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they come in now with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Sunday, March 3rd between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. for Watlers Road and portions of Helling Drive in Georgetown. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
The Rotary Central Health Check, Saturday, March 2, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. 5 locations: Cost You Less West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Georgetown, Savannah United Church Hall, Foster's Airport, and the East End Civic Center. Free blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, hemoglobin, mouth cancer screenings, healthy weight assessment, free medical consultations. Rotary Central, creating hope in the world.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. Weather Report, brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, and let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 78 degrees. Relative humidity is 83%. The barometric pressure is at 30.03 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 74 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate easterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next couple of days as a ridge of high pressure lingers over the Caribbean Sea. Satellite images show scattered low-level clouds across the northwest Caribbean. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today and tonight, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s and will fall to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 10:57, low tide this evening at 5:29. The sun will set this evening at 6:29 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:46. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions.
Weather
including
Report,
eligibility at the time
brought
of
to you
service.
by CG Britcay, where people come first.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Every day, thousands of us use our roads.
I drive to work.
My dad drives me to school.
I make deliveries across the island.
But with every journey comes responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences, so let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads.
Do it for your community.
For your loved ones.
For yourself.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Good morning. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Remember, there's going to be about 10,042 visitors to our islands and the cruise ships. There are 3 ships in town today, and the last one will leave at 5 p.m., so please be aware of that as you maneuver Seafarers Way. Edward Street moving along moderately at the moment, and the Linford Pearson Highway, heavy traffic, and traffic is steady on Crew Road heading to Georgetown, coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway, steady but flowing traffic. Moderate flow of traffic in both directions on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, and coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, flowing at a good pace. Owen Roberts Drive, no issues there as traffic is flowing pretty good. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady but flowing traffic. Also, traffic is moderate coming off of Agnes Way, and that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop,
dancehall, urban gospel.
The Super Jam Show is
brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, SIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by
Cayman Airways. Call them at 949-2311 to book your non-stop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Also brought to you by Superior Auto Center. Do it right the first time with Superior Auto.
949-9570 or 525-9571.
Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by
The Yum School Lunch Program. Now available at selected private and public schools across Grand Cayman.
the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Super Jam.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio yet, but we will have a guest coming in later on as well. Meanwhile, one of our listeners has sent us a belated birthday greetings going out to Aunt Vi. Miss Jewel, of course, and her North Side family sending belated birthday greetings to Aunt Vi as well. One of our listeners wrote in and said we need drone surveillance and armed, and they put an exclamation to that as well. They go on to say as soon as the boats get in the waters, they should sink them. Or in our waters, we should sink them. They also said it would be interesting to know how the news of the shooting hit the foreign press. We'll talk a little bit of that as well. They go on to say that none of those news outlets have reporters here. Why didn't they report there were 75 private jets at our airport over Christmas? So what the person is saying, that they're seeking to report the negative stuff, the bad things that are happening, but not the good things. Folks, remember the word globalization. We are living now in a global world where before things happen, people know about it, much less, when they happen. I remember the days when we just had the regular telephone here in the Cayman Islands, and we were living in New York, and we could call back home and tell our family members something that had happened in Cayman before. They knew about it as well. But the press will pick up on news that is being carried by other news organizations, and once some may seek to verify, others may not seek to verify. And remember now, when the government or government officials issue bulletins, those things are available on their website. So it isn't difficult. I was really surprised that there was so much interest in it from the foreign press, newspapers, electronic newspapers, and others. One, for instance, The Guardian, which is, quite a liberal organization, funded mainly through contributions, but they carried it as well. So that is nothing unusual for that to happen. Now, let's talk about what the person said, drone surveillance and armed drones, and that we should sink them, the boats, right? There are many persons, and not surprising in the Caribbean, because if you note that in many jurisdictions in the Caribbean, that the sentiments for having the death penalty on the books are still extremely, extremely strong. The sentiments for that, they're strong. Of course, here in the Cayman Islands, we have very little control over that, because that is something that the United Kingdom government would veto in a second, would not allow any legislation to be passed for that. As a result, when it was taken off the books, that in itself was a battle as well. So we'll not see that happening. We hear, and I've seen on social media platforms, talking about El Salvador and their president, Bukele, and some people have put up stories about El Salvador, and they have said this is what we need here in Cayman as well. Now, El Salvador, for instance, the number of homicides in El Salvador, and we can't compare El Salvador to Cayman Islands in terms of its population size, nor the size of the country itself. But in El Salvador, this was published in January of this year, the number of homicides dropped nearly 70% during 2023. And that was what the country's security authorities said. And they credited a prolonged state of emergency declared by the government of President Nayib Bukele to fight crime gangs. Justice and Security Minister said 154 murders were committed last year, down from 495 the year before. That includes a homicide rate of 2.4 per every 100,000 people, which the officials said was the lowest in the Americas, apart from Canada. Bukele's crackdown has been broadly popular with Salvadorians weary of years of gang violence, extortion, and drug dealing. But human rights groups have said that the crackdown has included abuses such as torture, deaths in custody, and arbitrary detentions. The state of emergency declared in early 2022 allows police to swiftly arrest and jail suspected gang members while suspending their right to a lawyer and court appearance of preliminary detention. And the article goes on, it's pretty long, goes on to talk about a lot. So that is what El Salvador, has done. I can share another one with you. Closer to home, comparable in size. British Virgin Islands. And this was today's article. Police announce arrests in CGB shooting and an Aladdin robbery. That's a robbery at a store called named Aladdin, right? Here's what they say. Says officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force arrested an undisclosed number of persons following an early morning raid yesterday, February the 27th. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and pause there for a second, notice they still use force. I think at one time it was service, but they reverted back to force. They weren't trying to be politically correct at all to call it a service. They call it a force. It says the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said it made multiple arrests while conducting an extensive operation targeting suspects involved in the February 4th shooting in Cane Garden Bay and the February 9th robbery at the Aladdin store on Fleming Street in Road Town. The operation was part of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force's ongoing efforts to combat crime and ensure public safety with crime escalating in the territory. Police said those apprehended are currently being held at the Road Town Police Station for interrogation. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force promised a thorough investigation as it looks to bring those responsible to justice. The police raid followed an alarming incident at Aladdin store where 4 masked assailants armed with high-powered weapons conducted a broad daylight heist, escaping with undisclosed valuables. Meanwhile, the recent shooting at Cane Garden that left a bullet-riddled car in its wake also raised concerns about safety in tourist areas. The 2 incidents prompted increased calls for greater police visibility and action, including in Road Town, where a small demonstration was held. Governor Daniel Pruce previously met with the Aladdin's robbery victims, expressing solidarity and confirming that security remains a top priority. Enhanced measures, including daily foot patrols and the addition of new officers to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, were announced in the aftermath of the robbery to help restore public confidence. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force urged the community to come forward with any information related to these crimes and encourage persons with information, regardless of its significance, to contact the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force's intelligence unit, and they gave the number for that as well. So there we see the authorities in the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force taking action. Yes, it may have been reactive because the crimes had already been committed, but we do not expect police forces to always be able to prevent crime, because they can't be everywhere at the same time. So crime is going to occur. They can try to control it, try to reduce it, and of course, in this fight, we all have to do our part when it comes to that as well. We have seen in the past here where the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, known gang members, they have brought them in, held them, questioned them, and then released them. I guess you have to be extremely cautious to ensure that you're not violating the constitutional rights of that of those individuals. So you have to ensure that you toe the line. But here's an example of that. Not to say that that may not be done, may not be something that is being considered by Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as well. We also need to commend our police service here, for the rapidity in which they are able to solve many crimes and arrest the perpetrators as well. They have been extremely successful with that, and I have no doubt that in this particular case, the success will be there as well. Now, again, we saw in the British Virgin Islands, we saw the remarks made by the governor and saying that they will boost up the Royal Virgin Islands Police Service. In their press conference, you heard the governor and the government give their commitment that whatever the police commissioner needs to help in this fight, they will give it to him as well. You heard on Radio Cayman's news here the shortage of police officers, especially in the community policing section. Again, let's go back to my discussion on Monday in relation to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and the effort that needs to be made to attract capable and qualified Caymanians. That 250,000, well, 200 that government has put forward in terms of a reward for information, let's double that 200,000 and make it 400,000, but that 400,000 should go towards incentives to attract Caymanians to join the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. I'm going to take a commercial break. When we return, I want to talk about what we all need to be doing at this point in time, because there are many times where we here in the Cayman Islands are attempting to address issues, but sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, or my 5 fingers on my left hand don't know what each finger is doing, nor on the right hand as well. What I mean by that is that we have people talking, we heard the governor speak about the fact that we need to address this situation. We need to look at the causes, the root causes of this issue. We need to go back to our schools. We need to deal with our families, look at every aspect of it. And this is nothing new, because we should be doing this all of the time. What we need to do, we need to have it coordinated. We need to have it well coordinated, and we need to have it working like a well-oiled machine, not entities, whether or not they're government or voluntary agencies not working in silos but working together. Let's take this commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You asked, and we listened. The Water Authority's new customer portal is here. The new and improved platform lets you manage your account easily and more independently from a user-friendly design. With the new customer portal, you can view and pay your bill online, schedule bill payments, make payments on multiple accounts at one time, manage tenant and landlord accounts, view your consumption history, make service requests, and so much more. The service is also available to tenant accounts. Visit www.waterauthority.ky to sign up today.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
In light of the recent spike in gun violence, the elected representatives for West Bay will be facilitating a meeting for the residents of West Bay to express their concerns and to give input towards solutions on Wednesday, February 28th from 7 p.m. at the Shirley Kidd Hall located at Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. Her Excellency the Governor, Mrs. Jane Owen, and Police Commissioner Mr. Kurt Walton will be in attendance. The community is encouraged to attend.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Lord Graham, I hope that you're still listening to us as well. And it is my pleasure to announce to you and to have in the studio with me Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks in the studio, former Speaker of our Parliament as well. Minister, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for agreeing. We know that an announcement has been made about a meeting, public meeting being held tonight, so we can start off with that, give you an opportunity.
Before I get into announcing the event this evening, I first want to thank you for inviting the MPs for West Bay to join the show this morning to share a little bit more about our meeting tonight. I want to offer apologies. Osi, as you know, the call was quite we didn't really have a whole lot of time for members to readjust their schedules.
Yes.
So, all of the other MPs for West Bay have already made commitments for the morning, and they send their apologies, but they will be in attendance this evening. So the meeting that we have arranged is going to be held tonight at the Shirley Kidd Hall, which is at the Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School at 7 p.m. And it's a meeting to really, have some discussions, some real, I think everybody right now is at a state of concern, wanting to know that we get this matter of gun violence under control. And, at the end of the day, a lot of the answers are right out there with the people. So this is the reason why we're having the meeting tonight, is to, hopefully get some information sharing going, and we can, get some solutions put in place.
And that what time will that meeting take place?
The meeting starts at 7 tonight, and we're going to start on time. Oftentimes, you talk about Cayman time, but we will be having the governor in attendance. So we certainly aim to start at 7.
And the police commissioner is going to be there as well?
The police commissioner will also be in attendance.
And the public, all the public, they're all invited to attend. That hall can hold several hundred people, I believe, right?
Probably. I'm not sure what the maximum capacity is, but we chose the Shirley Kidd Hall because that is the largest area for a public gathering in West Bay at the moment.
Now, this incident took place in West Bay, but it could have easily taken place in any district, because all of the districts in the Cayman Islands, they all have their issues one way or the other when it comes to crime. Absolutely.
And, we are a small place. So, as you said, even though it happened in West Bay, there were people from other districts that were there, and just the fact that, no one was killed doesn't mean that it isn't something that should be taken very, very seriously. And I know for sure that all of the members of Parliament, we met, as everyone has seen on the press conference, we previously met with the police commissioner and the governor, and it is certainly something that is being taken seriously. We need to get to the bottom of it. We need to end it, because at the end of the day, we're already a minority in this country. The last thing we need to be doing is seeing our own, Caymanian people, or anybody, being killed on these shores. It needs to end, OC.
Now, let's talk about some things that could possibly be done, or things that have been tried in the past. There are some persons who advocate, for instance, that there should be a gun amnesty. And I think one of the officials at the press conference did point out, that was on Monday, did point out that even one more gun off the streets, is in itself is an achievement. But historically, we have seen that gun amnesties in the Cayman Islands have not been that successful. You get some guns that don't have firing pins. They're old guns that are inoperable. The real guns that you want to get off the street, they're not being turned in. When you follow social media, you see, and we can't certainly use social media as being representative of the majority, the views of the majority of the people. But at least those persons on social media are expressing themselves, while you may have the silent majority saying absolutely nothing. And I was earlier pointing out to our audience that it's surprising, Bukele in El Salvador, how many persons, people are admiring him and using what he has done in El Salvador as an example of what needs to be done. I followed those comments up, and I read about the drop in crime and killings in El Salvador as a result of the state of emergency that was imposed there. Now, you have to bear in mind that was a state of emergency, and the results of that. And then I shared an article from the British Virgin Islands that was just posted this morning. They had a murder. They had a brazen robbery where 4 men with high-powered rifles robbed a jewelry store and went off with an undisclosed amount of jewelry and everything. They had a sweep yesterday, I think, and basically arrested a whole lot of people and brought them in. Some people are saying that those are similar measures that we need to do here. Now, a state of emergency is an extremely serious thing. We see it in Jamaica as well. And I had the opportunity to ask Dr. Steve McFeel on Monday about it, and I can understand his response as a lawyer, as an officer of the court, as a lawyer who may be called upon to defend persons that he does not agree that any sort of thing should occur in the Cayman Islands. Of course, for a tourist industry, if we were to declare a state of emergency here in Cayman, first thing that you're likely to get is the United States issuing a bulletin warning their nationals not to travel to the Cayman Islands. And we haven't seen yet what the fallout has been because of this particular incident that went viral worldwide just a few days ago as well. But do you have any views in terms of the legal approach that we need to take, and whether or not it should be along standard lines, or do we have to step it up a little bit?
I do believe that, one of the things that we were speaking about when we met earlier this week was that there's actually legislation relating to gangs. And, the Attorney General spoke a bit about it, explained, to members who may not have been familiar with it. And it's something that I think could be tested. And it certainly has, very strong penalties. Do we need to increase our make the legislation more robust? I think as we evolve, as time, as the world changes, that's something that is inevitable. I think you always have to go back and look and say, okay, do we need to change our approach? Do we need to, have stricter penalties? But what is also critical is enforcement, is, ensuring that we are actually getting, the individuals that are doing these crimes. And that is where it's very important for us to have a good relationship with the public, for the public to feel comfortable and confident to be able to share whatever they see, whatever they know. And I know that is something that the commissioner shared, is his approach. His strategic plan is to, strengthen the relationship between the people and the police. And I think that when we see that starting to happen, then we will be able to get more of the perpetrators that are out there, because there's a lot of people on the road that are talking, but they're not sharing the information with the authorities. And until we do that, we won't get these individuals, these perpetrators behind bars.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, can we talk a little bit more about the police? Because I've been, in the past few days, Monday as well as today, extremely vocal. And you speak about the fact that you want people to share information with the authorities, in particular the police. Those persons also have to be at a particular comfort level to want to do that as well. And what is already in place, or what can we do to increase that comfort level so that people can come forward and talk? We know of incidents where Caymanians have had to leave their home and live somewhere else as a result of either witnessing or testifying or whatever. So how do we ensure that comfort level is increased as well? Folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. Don't forget, if you have any comments or observations, you can email us, talktooc@gmail.com. WhatsApp number 925-3261. And a little bit later on, we know Miss Katherine is also going to open up the phone lines because she wants to hear from you as well. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer and diabetes awareness meeting at the Seafarers Hall in Prospect on Wednesday, 28 February from 7 to 9 p.m. Presentations and free PSA testing will be done by HSA and Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer and diabetes awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Wednesday, 28 February, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Seafarers Hall, located in Prospect.
This is Winston Connolly, and I work in the financial services sector. I'm concerned about the way climate change is affecting our energy sector. Storms can delay fuel imports and damage infrastructure, and heat waves can destabilize the grid. These issues can prevent Caymanians from using their cars, lights, and air conditioning. To learn more about the climate risks to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks in the studio with us. One of our listeners has written in and said we need to tighten up on gang membership and effectively outlaw gang membership and make witness protection really attractive so that witnesses will want to come forward. Overseas offer overseas relocation temporarily, etc. And we can look to see what is in place or seek to determine what is in place in relation to that and whether or not it needs to be boosted as well. So, Minister, I was yesterday as well as today talking about making the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service attractive to Caymanians for them wanting to serve in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. I pointed out that we have several persons who go to college, graduate with a liberal arts degree, not necessarily with any specific concentration, let's say, for instance, in accounting or whatever. And sometimes you get a college degree and you really don't know where you're going to be heading or what you're going to be doing. I mean, I had
Most university students don't know.
That's true, yeah. I mean, I had a liberal arts degree. I majored in political science and history, and then I did my master's in international relations. I knew I wanted to come back home. I knew I wanted to work for the government. And I ended up working at the immigration department. And from there, I became the chief immigration officer, transitioned as the cabinet secretary, also worked in the elections office as the deputy supervisor of election for over 30 years. And now I've graduated all the way up to being a radio talk show host. So
I would imagine
that
when you started, you were one of those enforcement officers over there that with immigration that would chase in the people. And I keep hearing about how stringent it was back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether or not today's environment really would allow us to do that because, we didn't have a Bill of Rights and all of those things those days, so we could have targeted, what you would call targeted efforts and things questionable. Yeah, and there was even some joke. There was a time when one hurricane was heading to the Cayman Islands, and then it turned away, and the story was that OC wouldn't give them a visa to come, so they couldn't make it here. But getting back to the real thing, those persons, if we were to make it attractive for them to join the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and we do realize that they will probably have to be recruited as constables at first to see where they are. But you keep hearing today about inspectors taking statements and unable to write a proper statement, to spell properly and things of that nature. Persons with college degrees should be able to get over that hurdle. We talk about comfort level for persons wanting to give information to the police. They may feel more comfortable talking to their own as opposed to talking to others. So my suggestion was government added $200,000 onto the reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the perpetrators of that crime. How about $400,000 to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service to give as incentives to Caymanians to join, qualified Caymanians to join the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. If that is in the form of a bonus, let's say $25,000, with the stipulation, with the proviso that you have to remain with us for at least 5, 7, 10 years, whatever. We have to be extremely, extremely creative. And I know if I were in government, some people would say, boy, he would be spending the government's money like crazy, but it may be worth it.
Well, OC, I will say, as you know, but probably some of the people of the public may not be aware, the police force, pursuant to the Constitution, falls under the remit of the governor.
Yes.
And the government's responsibility is to ensure that whatever resources they need, they're provided with. And that is where we stand as a government, is we are there to, support and find the monies from wherever they need to be in order to assist the governor and the commissioner as they feel fit, if it is that they need to bring on additional staff complement to, get this under control. And to your point, and the commissioner did speak about some of the plans that he has, and I don't want to speak for him, but I know that, he did publish his strategic. And he did share that, he does intend to, get some additional staff, so, but the government's position on this, OC, is that, we made it very clear, whatever the police need in order to have the resources to combat the crime, we stand, and if need be, we as ministers are all willing to even transfer some of the allocations that we've been awarded from our ministries, because this is certainly a priority right now.
So one of our listeners wanted to know that if while the governor is responsible, for the police, that the elected government is also has powers in terms of policy decisions as well. So is it possible then that the government of the day could adopt a policy to say, we want the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service to be have more Caymanian representation, and even to set a percentage of what that should be, and to say, while you've pointed out that you will give them whatever they ask for, sometimes you may want to give them what they haven't asked for too, and say to them, we're giving you this $400,000, but it is earmarked and it should be used for recruiting qualified Caymanians only.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are good suggestions. I mean, the caller is right in terms of legislators are here to set policy, and I mean that is a policy that could be spread across many other agencies, not just the police. You know, we need to find a way to make recruiting Caymanians a priority, because we do have a lot of our own people who are capable for many of the roles that are listed, not just in civil service, but also in private sector. And we need to put some sort of protection in place to ensure that Caymanians do have, an opportunity.
Okay. We have about a minute before we go to our headline news. I'll check and see if we have any more messages in the meantime. Many of our people have been talking about the Yolanda Ford report.
Yes.
That was prepared,
quite
published.
some time ago.
Yeah, June of 2006.
Yeah. So such
that
an
would be
report.
almost 18 years ago.
Yep.
And many are sort of sad that it hasn't been fully implemented. Are we likely to see any reverting to this particular document? One of the things I spoke about this morning as well is that we have so many government agencies that are working, towards addressing issues, of our young people. We heard the governor talk about, looking into schools, starting from scratch in terms of what we do. But sometimes one agency does not necessarily know what the other is doing. You have civic organizations. I'm not sure if they still call us big brothers and big sisters. I think that has been changed, to something else now. We have Mr. Michael Miles' organization as well. Is this, and I'll put this question to you, and then when we come back, you can answer it. Is this the time for us to have a conference? We know people will criticize and say, "Oh, it's a knee-jerk reaction. You're having it now because this has happened." Well, we can't deny the fact.
What type of conference you said? Sorry?
To bring all of these people together.
Oh.
Or representatives of all of these people together. If we don't already know what it is that they're doing.
You mean like all the different agencies?
Yeah.
Well, I will give a shout out to my sister-in-law, Sylvia Wilks.
Yes.
Because she does this. She actually just had Celebrate Our Youth Day back in January, and that was what it was. It was sort of like a business expo, and it was booths with all the different agencies that offer support, not just to at-risk youth, but again, going back to the Yolanda Ford report, also, we have to take a break. But I want to say that there is something that has already sort of been implemented recently with this government, which is the anti-bullying school regulations.
Okay.
Because what that actually suggests in the policy, it's pretty much the same thing as youth diversional programs, because it allows agencies to get into the home to ensure that the victim as well as the what do they call
perpetrator?
I feel like they both are, even
the
bully,
to a certain extent, yes, yeah.
Most people who are bullies, they're going through some sort of trauma themselves. But we get to the bottom of the problem from early, and offer counseling to the victim as well as the perpetrator and their families. And I think that is probably a start, OC, to addressing at-risk youth, because these are the children that grow up and get frustrated and become gang members. And if we can get to the bottom of their trauma or depression or anxiety, whatever it is, home issues, we can then start to reduce, our young people from, or I should say eliminate. We got to take a break, I see. So,
yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah,
I'm just
saying I'm excited to at least be able to say that we are implementing some of the components that have been spoken about from the Yolandi Ford report, which is a very great document to follow.
Okay, folks, top of the hour headline news. When we return, the conversation with Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks will continue. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
Cayman's Department of Tourism is in the United Kingdom this week for the Blue Belt Symposium, which is bringing the overseas territories together to discuss conservation. DOE presented some of the active baited remote underwater video research being done on Cayman shark populations, as well as local surveying of Cayman's seabeds. U.S. President Joe Biden is projected to win Michigan's Democratic presidential primary comfortably despite a significant protest vote over strong U.S. support for Israel in the war in Gaza. Biden won 80% of the vote, according to projections, but the uncommitted exceeded expectations with 13%. His campaign will pay close attention to see if that result in the key swing state will spread nationwide. And in other U.S. political news, Donald Trump has further cemented his status as frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination with an easy win in the Michigan primary. With almost all votes in, Mr. Trump has won 68% against 27% for Nikki Haley. Ms. Haley has not won any of the races so far in the contest to pick the party's candidate for November's election. She's vowed to keep fighting, saying Mr. Trump cannot overcome Mr. Biden in a presidential election. Those are your headlines. I'm Kersley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning, Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ossie. Good morning, Minister Wilks.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first of all, it's very good, Minister, that you can come on and talk about the issue. And I've only got two short points to make because I don't want to take too much of your time. First of all, I think it is good to see that in your discussion this morning, as well as what was said at the press conference, there is a realization naturally that this is a multifaceted problem. It has to be dealt with from early childhood education and a lot of other things in society. And I think also you as well, together with Dr. Steve, have been emphasizing that this is a multifaceted. To me, there is one little statistic that really has stood out for me. Some time back, I attended an online seminar. It wasn't the seminar. It was the Borden Symposium. A young Caymanian lady called Latoya Francis gave a presentation which really stuck with me for a long time. She observed that in the early childhood institutions, those that are doing well, only 20% of Caymanians go to those. And those that are doing badly, 80% of Caymanian kids go there.
Hmm.
And that is one of the myriad of things I think that have to be dealt with. That's my first point.
Can I just speak to that before you go to the second? Just to say
Sure,
that I
thank
think, I know that is something that has been addressed with the government. The Honourable Premier, Juliana O'Connor Connolly, has implemented early childhood assistance. So what that does now is it provides financial support for persons who would typically want to put their children in daycare but couldn't afford it. Of course, all you simply have to do is apply through the Department of Educational Services, and that is a resource that's available, as well as the government just recently rolled out a pilot program in East End, which is a preschool that is affixed to the primary school, but obviously it's early childhood education. And so hopefully that is something that we can continue to build on. To your point, it is something that will address from early some of the learning deficiencies that will later on stem into some of the activities that we see, not just in Cayman but around the world. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to catch you before I lost my train of thought.
Well, no, because to me, I think that's very important, because it is showing that the government is responding to some of these researches and doing something about it. And it is part of the solution, as you say, to what is going on now. Very quickly on the second one, I was privileged to be in legislative drafting in 2008 when the criminal bills were being put together. There was a spike in crime at that time, as you will remember, and government took special measures to bring into effect certain legislation. Some of that legislation, I think, has had an effect, and one of them is the one that you referred to on gangs.
Right.
But as usual, you have to keep looking at things. What I've always been interested in is, in my view, I don't think that this latest problem, most of the solutions are in tightening the criminal sanctions. I think some of the solutions, yes, you can tweak here and there, but I think the caution that I would put forward is that when it was made very stringent, like stringent penalties were put in place for possession of firearms, some of the people who have ended up being caught are young people, 18, 20 years old, who still had opportunity in society to change. And they ended up being sent to jail for 10 years and for 7 years. And I think that government has to be sensitive towards that. And a lot of that legislation has wound up not just hurting them, but the people who come in from outside. They end up to get away. The expatriates who come in, tourists, end up not being sent to jail. The ones who go to jail in the end are your own young people who still have a chance to change. And I think some caution, therefore, has to be exercised as to how much in terms of stiffer penalties needs to be put in place. Those are my 2 points. I thank you very much this morning for my chance.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Ms. Katherine?
My thought on that is the caller makes a valid point in terms of a lot of these people that are conducting these crimes are young, but at the same time, in order to get this situation under control, there has to be a message sent that we will not tolerate this type of behavior. And it's unfortunate, but until we start to send a message and set precedents to show that, this is what's going to happen to me if I'm caught, in this situation or with this gun, or otherwise it's going to continue to spiral out of control, and we need to get it now while we still have the opportunity to get a grip on it. But I do agree with the caller that they are our Caymanian young men and even young women, and we need to find a way to also deter this type of behavior, because no member of parliament wants to see our Caymanian young people placed behind bars for a number of years. But we also don't feel that this type of behavior is something that should be tolerated. And so the question to how do we combat it? I think right now one of the solutions is to enforce the legislation that we have and make an example, and let's try to get it under control.
While at the same time trying to address the issues that create,
Yes, because these individuals now are already here. So we need to it needs to be a multifaceted approach where you're addressing the young, the babies that are coming up now, to ensure that this vicious cycle is broken. Because let's face it, we do have poverty in Cayman, we do have, single parent homes, and a lot of these young people that have ended up where they are right now, they didn't ask to be placed into the environments that they grew up in, and as they say, you're a product of your environment. So it is definitely something that is going to take not just one agency to address the problem, but a number of them.
Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break, but I'll read this other message that we received. It says, good morning. Could you ask Minister Wilks if the elected government has looked at the systematic factors that may negatively impact the choice of life for the Caymanians who are part of these gangs, such as the cost of living? So we will take that on board when we return. Any callers on hold, Ms. Susan? We have two callers on hold as well. So we're going to take the commercial break. When we return, we'll take the two callers, and then we can, Minister can respond to the WhatsApp message after as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Brand Source Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Ranso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
As a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks. Two callers on hold. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, good morning, Doc. How are you?
Pretty good. And good morning to Honorable Minister.
Good morning, sir.
I'd just like to make a few points.
Okay.
I think that we have to start cease to be naive. And one of the things that we need to do immediately is to caulk up our borders.
I agree.
We need to know who we are looking for. We need to make it impossible for people to get out and to get in without us knowing. That's the first thing we need to do. Because the guns and the drugs are coming in and going out. And anywhere you can come in anywhere in the country, you can come in at night and you can go out. The shooter could have come in, shot up the place and walked away and got on a boat and left.
I absolutely agree.
We need to caulk the borders, make it impossible. So that if a toilet flush within our waters, we need to know when it flushed, who flushed it, and so forth. That's what we need to know. That's one of the first things we need to do. The next thing we need to do is that I heard the Commissioner of Police said in the conference, in the press conference, that there were some 40 or 30 or 40 people that they know. Well, if that is true, how are they walking around and they're not being shadowed? If you know those people, then every time that they move from their house or from a restaurant or get into a car, I want to know what time they left their house, what time they got into, and where they are going to, and how long they have stayed, and when they're coming back. You know, many years ago, when this violence started, when the unity team was in power, Mr. Jim Borden did something about it. He brought in people from outside who was undercover, and he had a report from every district. He knew everyone in every district that were committing criminal, they were involved in criminality, whether it was drugs or gambling or whatever it was. He knew who they were. And that's the first time that I was aware of certain people from really prominent homes that were involved in the illegal trade. Secondly, so he did that. He did that. I was a part of that too. Then, and the next thing, ma'am, is that you just said that, oh well, the police is for the governor. That's true, but the Constitution also says that a premier can go to the governor and say, listen, we would like you to transfer some of those responsibilities to a minister. And when I asked the last governor, a couple of governors before that, I think it was the maid governor before the female governor came, if he would do that, and he said no, he wouldn't do that. But we already have precedents for that, because Governor Smith transferred his responsibility to the prison for Dr. Frank McPhail. It didn't go well, but there's precedent for that. We need to take responsibility, because the governor is from a different country. She does not understand what's going on, and the problem is that she has to rely on what they tell her. And then you talk about the getting the confidence of the community, the police. Well, that has been broken so many years. I mean, what we need to do, we need to start recruiting our own police. We need, like Mr. For the Record, Orrett said, we need, and in some jurisdictions, you can only be a policeman unless you have a degree. You have to have a college degree first. Here we are, with people who come from different countries. They don't know us. They seem to don't want to know us. In my neighborhood, I don't know who the policemen are in my neighborhood. They never come to my gate. They don't know how many people live in my house. They don't know what's happening to my house if I leave and go. If they see somebody moving stuff from my house, they don't know if it's a legitimate move or not. They don't know. They just drive through on their air-conditioned car and circle and go back to the police station. We need policing, proper policing. And another thing, we're talking about commanders in the police force and so forth, and Orrett was talking about that. Well, we already have that in the Constitution, and I'm sure that when we drafted the Constitution, we didn't put those things in there for cosmetic, for frill and cost and for lace and cosmetics. We did them there We put all of those things in the Constitution for a purpose. And Section 16 says that we have the right to say only Caymanians can work in certain in the government institutions, government companies, and government organizations. It's right there written in black and white, and it's not discriminatory. So we need to start exercising our right to protect our own people. And we cannot rely on other people doing it for us because they can only do so much. We have to take the bull by the horn. And you are ministers and the others are ministers. You have to get together and say, this is not going to happen ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to put up the bulwark against it. And what we need to do, we need to have men and women who are dedicated to protect our country. You know, the Americans did that too in the 1920s and the 1930s when the crime in America was raising their heads. They started something called the FBI. They tracked people down. And they brought it to a halt. And you know all the crime stories, Al Capone and all of those people, they did that. In Jamaica one time they had something called the flying squad. Something happened in Jamaica, they knew within 24 hours who they were looking for. They disbanded all of that now. And so we need to get back to the basics. And we need to, and this thing about $250,000 reward. I mean, who is going to give the reward for the $250,000? The accomplice of the criminals and stuff. They're not going to do that. And this stupidness about asking them to turn in guns. Well, they're not going to turn in their guns because they'll be naked. They'll be weak. The guns are their power, and so forth. So we need to go after these people and protect our people. Every time they move, we need to know where they're going and what they're going for and who they're going to meet. And we need trained people to do that. I'm surprised to know that the police say that they know who these people are, and yet when things happen, they asking the government to tell them. They asking the public to tell them like give us information. Now you should know the information yourself. And I'll tell you plainly, Minister, which I have a lot of respect for you. I think you're one of the Caymanian people, especially in the government. I have a great respect for. I would be looking towards taking those responsibilities over in my country if I was a minister. I would be going and asking them to let me be the Minister of National Security in the country. I would be pushing that envelope with the governor and with the British government because it seems to me that we have been relying on them for years and years and years and years, and we get the same result. And there's there's a word for that. When you keep making the same mistakes and
insanity.
There's a word for that.
Yep.
And so that's what I would be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Press conferences are okay, but I would be saying, listen, we have been paying this money, $50, $60, $40 million a year, and we get the same thing. And I've been taking that over myself. And I would have been demanding that I become the Minister of National Security, and I would then decide what kind of people I would be hiring in the country to be policemen, and from where and from when.
Okay, Doc.
Those are the things that are relevant that we must start doing.
To your point, Doctor. To your point,
I'm
even
sure
if a minister took it all over, Section 55 would still prevent you from being able to determine who you could hire.
Pardon me?
I said even if a minister took it over, you would still have those limitations with recruitment because of Section 55.
We need to go to the schools from early. That's why we have, that's one of the reasons why we started the Cadet Corps. The Cadet Corps was supposed to send people, train people to all of the uniform branches of the government, customs, police, immigration. When we started that, we had people teaching policing, teaching the law to the policemen. We had people teaching customs, immigration. We had the fire department. we had people. It was a great thing, and what they did, because Caymanians were in control, they took it away and they gave it to some other people and so forth. And now what was the Cadet Corps? We all of these years the numbers have not risen about North. And as far as I was concerned, if you go to my public school, if I'm the government and you go to my public school, you have to be a cadet. You have to join the Cadet Corps. That would be a prerequisite to get discipline, to know to defend your country. Like other countries, everyone has to serve when they get 18 or 19 or years old. You would have to provide some national service between the age of 16 and 21. You would have to provide some national service, whether it's for a year or 18 months in a camp or something, or do something. That's what we need to do.
Doc, we have other callers hanging on as well. So,
but you have made some very good suggestions and observations, and I'm sure that there are many who are listening today, including the elected arms. So you've given us food for thought.
Yep. Doc, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Susan, why don't we take the early commercial break so that we can give the next caller some time to talk as well. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Branso's Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Ranso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
Hey Bobo, have you taken the pledge?
What pledge?
The Safe Drivers Pledge, to show your dedication to fostering a culture of responsible driving. Some of the accidents we have in Cayman could have been avoided simply by drivers being more vigilant behind the wheel.
You're right, Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences. Everyone should make a commitment to drive safely. Where can I take the pledge?
Visit gov.ky/road safety/pledge.
Thanks. I'll tell others to take the pledge too.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks. One caller still on hold. Caller, good morning. And this is on the WhatsApp number. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to our MP, Ms. Katherine Wilks.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Well, the report concerning Cayman and warning people not to come here because of their safety. Where was that report? Where did you all get that report from?
Are you referring to which report?
No one referred to the report that there was any report. There was a reference that was made that if something were to happen, if we were to declare a state of emergency in the Cayman Islands, that the international press would take that up, and you would see incidents like what happened in other jurisdictions where the U.S. then would put out a travel bulletin advising their nationals not to travel to the Cayman Islands. No one said that there was one out there.
Okay, well, the United States should be the last people in this world warning people not to come to any country, because that's the most dangerous country in the world.
Good point.
People are getting shot in church houses down there. But when it comes to these shootings, when it comes to crimes of passion, it's almost impossible to stop it from happening. If a person wants to get them, they could be in the courthouse. The person will come to the courthouse to get them if it's a crime of passion. Thank you very much.
Caller, before you go, what when you say crime of passion, can you describe what you consider to be a crime of passion? Oh, caller isn't there.
Gone. Okay.
Yeah. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am good, and good morning to the minister with you.
Good morning, ma'am.
I guess pretty much anything I would say might have been covered already, but I would like to add my 5 cents worth. To Mr. Connor first. Mr. Connor, I think you need to, what would be the word? What's that word when you're sifting through people and their things and whatever? What's that word? Help me out here, please. Not monitor.
Peruse?
Screen. I think you need to screen your friends a little better, and I think you need to cut some of them off. They're too jealous. Okay? Yes, they're too jealous. And they're too what the Bible speaks about, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor. You need to find that in the Bible and perhaps put it in bold print. And these places that you attend on Fridays, I think it needs to be stuck up on the walls there. And I will say no more. Anyway, moving on, as far as crime in Cayman, I would like to say a couple of things on that. I keep hearing everyone make reference to the canoes. Okay, what they keep forgetting. These people don't just come here illegally on boats. Some of these people are being granted lawful entry through the airports in our island. That needs to be looked at. I think that whole process needs some revising, okay? Criminals, as they say, criminals just don't come to the back door. Sometimes they're very brazen. They will come to the front door too. And I think that is being overlooked, and they might be very surprised to know that these guns and whatever else might not be coming in through the back door. That being one thing. And the other thing, one of the biggest problems that we have facing us today is the whole landscape and cosmetics. DNA of Cayman has changed. Once upon a time, the police worked in tandem with the community. And the reason for that was that the community trusted the police because the police were Caymanians, or at least people of similar culture that they could relate to. No one is going to sit down and confide in a stranger. We all know that. That's just human nature. Nobody recognizes any of these police, and I believe I could count maybe 2 Caymanian police who are in senior positions that are left there. So if you want to fix this problem, let us fix it where it started. Let us make the police jobs more attractive. Let us offer them a good incentive to become a police. And above all, please, let us look at their resumes. Let us interview them, train them, and hire them and train them. Stop throwing their resumes in the garbage. Stop judging them before you've even seen them. Everybody needs to start somewhere. And I feel that is an area where we need to improve on our young people if we are to protect what is left of Cayman, because there's not much left. And I'm not talking about landmass, okay? I could go on and on, but I can leave it there because, Mr. Connor, I don't want people behind your back saying that you give me extra time. So on that note, I'm going to wish you a good morning I wish you all the best. I know it's your district.
Thank
I
you,
know
ma'am.
this has to be very troubling to you because I have family in that district and I've spoken to them and everybody's on edge, And it might not hurt either to recommend to these stacks of cement that we got dressed up in our police uniform to just go around house to house and speak to people. A lot of people know stuff, but they are afraid. Just remember that. They
Yes, ma'am.
are afraid. They don't trust the police. That is the biggest problem we have. So for the few Caymanian police that we have, they have a lot of work on their hands because maybe somebody will slip something to them. But I can assure you it's not going to be said or slip to any of those others. First of all, they can't read and write, so they wouldn't be able to write it down. Anyway, have a good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
you for your
caller.
call.
Minister, you want to respond to Barbara?
I think she's made a lot of statements, and I appreciate what she said. And I think that we definitely can always, improve, increase our Caymanian complement. But I also feel that even with the officers that we do have there, if their approach is a community policing approach, which is something that when I was on the campaign trail, I spoke a lot about community policing, which I know we have our community beat officers. And I know in West Bay, our community officers are well connected with the community. And I think it's safe to say that the community feels safe with speaking with them. However, the more that the police get out there and, get on the streets and walk and talk and develop relationships with the people, that is one of the ways that the trust will, I would say, improve. And I don't want to say anything more because, again, like I said earlier, that's not under my remit. I don't want to speak for the commissioner and what he has plans to do, but I take the caller's suggestions and statements, and I think that, like I said earlier, I know that they're very much important people listening to the show today, and I'm sure they're making notes, and hopefully they will take them on board.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Minister. Ms. Susan, any callers on hold? So we're going to go back to one of the questions that we had from one of our listeners, and they wanted to know whether or not the government had looked at this. I think they probably meant systemic factors that may negatively impact the choice of life for Caymanians who are part of the gangs, such as the cost of living. But there, that may be one of them, but there may be other systemic factors that may have come long before they reach the point where they're seeking, somewhere to live on their own and while in the families. And we shouldn't ignore what Yolanda's Ford's work was all about, and it had to do with the predisposing factors to criminality in the Cayman Islands. So those factors that have an impact on an individual before they get to that point where they are committing crimes. And she identified so many of them. Now, what in looking at this report, and I've read it several times as well, I think what I would suggest is that some social scientists take this document and look at it, because there's specific data in there that is related to the time that this report was being done. That data would have changed, at this point in time, because some of the things that that she looked at in terms of those persons who were incarcerated was the level of their education, the type of family background, and all of those things as well. So it would be useful to go back and now compile, or we may have it already, to take that data and put it in to those areas that where now that data is old data that we have. For instance, there are things about, whether or not persons were involved in religion, whether they participated in religion. There are others there in relation to, trying to scroll through this.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Use of spare time. For instance.
One of the things that she also speaks about is the reintegration back into the community with persons who've been incarcerated. And I know that's something that we are looking at and trying to, I know even just from a constituency level, I see it quite frequently where we have persons who are coming out of prison and having difficulty with getting jobs, having difficulty with getting employment. And again, that is certainly one of the ways that that cycle continues, because you can only carry on for so long before you fall back into, being frustrated and, self-treating. And then the cycle continues. Yeah, but, this report really is very extensive, OC, and I've read it a couple of times, and sadly the stuff that is the content that is here back, what was it, 2008? I'm trying to remember when she wrote it,
2006.
Yeah, 6. But even like she refers to hangout spots, and the hangout spots that were listed in that report, they're the same today, So there's no secret in terms of, where our vulnerabilities are as a country, and what we need to do to address it.
And social media was not as expansive then as it is now. As well. So it is much easier for people to communicate without being detected unless, Big Brother's monitoring you.
And I think that it's a blessing and it's also a curse, because it's a blessing in a sense where if used positively, we have a better chance of combating some of this crime, A curse in a sense where sometimes some of the things that we're seeing on social media is actually promoting more of the negative behavior. So, it's something that we definitely need to find a way to streamline and use properly.
Okay, we're going to take our last commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
As a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Government school registration for the 2024-2025 academic year opens online on March 1st. Enrollment is based on a first-come, first-served basis with established priority categories. So please, register your child early to maximize your chances of getting them into a school within your catchment area. To learn more or register your child, please visit schools.edu.ky by June 30th. This message is brought to you by the Department of Education Services.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Minister Katherine Ebanks-Wilks. We're going to close the phone lines off now because we want to take a look at the Yolanda Ford report. And just, again, I say that a lot of this is still relevant. The data is old data, and it would be instructive if we could look at the data that we currently have in relation to some of these things and you couldn't insert it into this document, but make a comparison between 2006 and now. Now, at the press briefing, I do believe, and I stand to be corrected, that one comment had been made about young people not having activities, not, necessarily enough things for young people to do. It may have been at the press briefing. It may have been listening to, to some other comment somewhere else. But we're going to share with you one portion of the report. And those of you who are familiar with it, or you may have it at your fingertips, it's on page 17, and it's paragraph 1.6, the use of spare time, because we keep hearing people talk about, we need more activities for our young people and stuff, right? So in one point it says the following 9 responses are a sample of the answers that were given when the inmates, these are inmates at Northwood Prison, were asked how they had spent their spare time during the 2-year period before coming to prison. So that, they wanted to know that. So respondent, and they are not identified by name, but respondent numbers. Person said, respondent number 155 said, only 6 months between coming back from reform school and coming to Northward. So that was the only period of time. Respondent number 173, 3 years before I come in, I used to sell coke, party, and smoke a lot of ganja. Respondent number 39, running from the police and smoking weed. Respondent number 6, only 7 months between being released on parole and being recalled. Painting and drawing art, using drugs, cocaine, and ganja. Respondent number 15, driving around. Respondent number 67, buy crack, smoke it, buy it from Dog City and Banana Walk. Respondent number 68, I was on the road for a year before I came back in for this incident. I was using cocaine, working and using. I was doing wrong, but I wasn't troubling nobody. I was hurting myself. Respondent number 189, hang out with friends. Respondent.
See, I just want to touch on that one,
Sure,
hanging
go
out
right
with
ahead.
friends. And
Yes.
I think that is one of the things that we see quite often. And I think that a lot of the young people that are involved in these gangs, I think this is one of the issues here, going back to using the time that they do have, and it starts out with just hanging out with friends and hanging out all day. And I think that is where a lot of the decline starts, because many of them, I believe it's probably just association, guilty by the old people used to say, and my grandmother used to say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. That's how you say it, right? Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And I think that this is critical here. This respondent 189, I think that many of our young men and women that are involved in these activities, this is how it starts. Some of them may not really be doing anything, may not be participating in the activity, but they are amongst these people daily, from 9 o'clock in the morning until only God knows when at night.
Okay. I know we had closed off the phone lines, but someone called in, so we're going to
sure, let's take
the
it.
caller.
Mhm.
Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Minister Ebanks-Wilks and Mr. Connor. I just wanted to say I tuned into the show at the last leg, but I am really enjoying the conversation and the points of the caller and listening to you speak, Minister Ebanks-Wilks. I wanted to encourage the ministers and the MPs that whenever they're going to be on the talk shows, if they could share it, not only on social media, but I know there's 42 people watching online right now, and I've had to, tune into the show and share it with people, and people are wondering, well, I didn't hear about it.
Right.
I think we need to use all of our resources to let the public know when you guys are going to be on, because we want everyone to hear, especially a topic of this morning. We want everyone to be able to access it, not only on radio, but those that are able to tune in online. I also wanted to publicly support the MPs and the ministers in trying to organize meetings in their respective districts. We know election time is coming up. I'm not trying to be rude by saying this, but now is a really good time to just have a little yard meeting and encourage our young people, or our middle-aged people to come out and just have a heart-to-heart, one-on-one meeting and talk to see what's on their minds. Especially about the climate of what's happening, and let them feel that they're not only going to be connected with, because election season is coming up. I also lastly wanted to again put it out there, because I've approached the government about this some time ago, a program called All Pro Dads. It's a mentoring program that's usually implemented in the schools, where it encourages dads to connect, especially with their sons on the school level. They go, for example, they go into the schools, have breakfast with their sons, and there's an interactive kind of like an educational program that teaches certain skills and so forth. There's also a program called iMom, which is similar to All Pro Dad for moms also, and it's under the umbrella of an organization called Family First, which is based out of Tampa, Florida, and it's a huge program. It's not a small program, but we need more mentoring programs. I believe we need more community to get involved, not just the government to do everything. And we have a huge number of wealthy Caymanian families here. I'm not saying that they're not involved, but I would encourage more wealthy Caymanian families to try to get involved in some of these programs. We want to also encourage them and investors who come to our islands to try to implement more for our young people to do in terms of recreational facilities and activities, not just Kings. There's really nothing much for young people to do, or I call them young people, but I'm thinking of the age group of 18 to 35, 40, and try to have more activities and recreational things for our young people to do. In
Caller, have you touched base with some of the churches? Because I would say almost every church in the Cayman Islands has some sort of a young people's program. So you're making a kind of a general statement there that I wouldn't necessarily agree with.
Sorry.
I mean, I also take on what the caller is saying in terms of the importance of mentorship and the fact that we do have, the Chamber has a mentoring program, and then you have Big Brother, I know they just recently rebranded.
Yeah,
You remember
rebranded.
their
It
new
used to
name?
be Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what the caller, the programs that she's speaking about, it's more geared along the lines of the absence of not a Big Brother, or the other one that the Chamber does is more geared towards a career mentor. But this is sort of, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like someone who doesn't have a parent. So, I mean, it's something that maybe rather than reinvent it. No?
Not necessarily someone who doesn't have
You say I
parent,
mom,
but
I dad, so that's why I kind of...
No, I mom and all pro dad. It's more, there may be dads that are not in the homes who don't have certain time frames or availability or access to their children. I mean, I've shared it with various organizations. I've shared it with the government, and it's a very extensive.
Caller, I have about 1 minute
program.
before we're going to close off, so I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments.
Right. So I didn't hear what Mr. Connor said when wasn't sure whether he said church or not. But
church-based programs, yes.
Okay. Well, respectfully, I'm not trying to be rude, but when I talked about recreational programs and things for people to do, church. Respectfully, I go to church and I believe in God. I was raised with that belief, but church really isn't going to cut it, because at that in those age capacities, many young people are even straying from church. They don't want to go to church. They want.
I'm talking about the program. I'm talking about the programs that the churches have for youngsters, caller.
Right, but I'm talking about programs for age group of 80 to 35.
Got you. Settle on that.
They want things to do.
Settle on that.
And respectfully, I every other caller call in, they're given a chance to.
Caller, you choose to call in. You called in 5 minutes before I had already closed the phone lines off, and I allowed you in. So let's not go there.
I do appreciate the caller's comments, and I do see the value in improving on the programs that we do have in place, and I'll certainly like to have a conversation with her off air to get some more ideas on how maybe that's something that could be rolled out from a constituency level. Additionally, the point that was made about giving notice before coming on to the show, I take that on. You're absolutely right. But as OC can attest, this was a shotgun, as most of them are. Do you want to come on this show? There's no one on. And so it really, I didn't even have an opportunity to really flick a message out to close friends and family members.
Because
to
the plans were for another day, actually.
The plans were for another day. But the fact that you had space this morning when we're having the meeting this evening, all of the West Bay MPs thought it would be important, even though we all couldn't attend, for me to come on to just, let everyone know that we're going to be at the Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School Hall tonight at 7 p.m. To discuss, the gun violence that we're currently facing in our country. Because let's be real, West Bay isn't the only district that has this problem, but let's just hope and pray that we can contain it straight away. So that's the purpose of the meeting tonight, is to try to find some solutions and give members in the community some comfort that we are taking this seriously and we want to, find a way to end it.
And just very quickly, if you want to remind them the time and the location of the meeting this evening, Minister. Time and location.
I was just getting a reminder from one of my colleagues. So the time is at 7 p.m. tonight at the Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School Hall, which is referred to as the Miss Shirley Kidd Hall. Mm-hmm. So it's at 7, and I don't anticipate that it will be into the wee hours of the morning. It'll just be, I do recognize that it is a weeknight, but everyone is concerned about what we are facing. Everyone wants to have an opportunity to be able to sit with their elected officials and with the police and share their concerns and get some feedback, perhaps in more detail from the commissioner on how they plan to address the matter.
Okay, folks, no closing comments from me because we were over time. I just encourage you, join Sterling Duane Ebanks at 12:15 for talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
And I just want to say thank you, OC. Thank you. I know you have to hurry,
no
but I appreciate you always giving us time to get on to, let the public know about important things such as the meeting tonight. So thank you very much. And thank you to all the listeners for tuning in this morning.
You're most welcome.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.